and welcome to This is 65. My name is Erin Ackenheil, and I'm your hostess for today. I own Black Point Insurance, where we help Medicare beneficiaries learn about the A, B, C's, and D's of Medicare, and we help agents and brokers nationwide learn to launch, grow, and retain their businesses. During that process, we meet some amazing people, dynamic speakers, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, you name it. They're doing it, helping other entrepreneurs grow their business and really being an inspiration to all. So I want to welcome you. These are the stories, and I have a fantastic guest today that I want to welcome. Welcome, Carol Reid. Carol is really an empowerment coach. She has an amazing story that she's going to share with all of you. She's simply transforming people's lives. She's absolutely incredible what she brings and her heart. And she really has supported many people, many women, dynamic women, to find their true self, to see what they're good at, and help them get on the right track to achieving their goals. I am just thrilled to bring and introduce to you this gem of a human, Carol Reid. Welcome, Carol. Thanks for joining.
Yay! I am so excited to be here today.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you. I mean, it's rare that you meet a person who inspires you. So right out of the gate, you just meet them and you feel good, and you're that gift, Carol. So it's just so great to have you on and to share what you do in your business and how you're helping women everywhere. So amazing. So before we jump in and get started, I just wanted to remind everybody that we are live today. We are live on Facebook. We're live on LinkedIn. You can post a comment and it'll show up in our feed here, and I'll definitely take questions as we go. I want to just remind you, please give us a like, say hello to Carol, and be sure to ask us some questions here. So Carol, you've been in the empowerment business for a while, actually started out part-time and moved full-time. So tell us a little bit about your background. How did you end up working in the empowerment field? What's your story?
So thank you, Erin. I'm really glad to be here again. And I started in insurance right out of college in the commercial insurance area as an underwriter, so in a decision-making role. And when I started, it was back in the late 70s. There was no one there that really looked like me. No one who I could go to as a mentor to really help me navigate not only the technical role, but how to show up as a person. And so early on, I decided that I wanted to help other women that would have the same type of experience, needing someone to guide them. So it really started many, many years ago at the beginning of my career. And I used to help people. I used to always try to give guidance and direction. And then later, I realized that it really was my gift, my purpose. And so I actually started my business 5 years ago while I was still working in my career role in insurance. And actually, I started out doing motivational speaking. And the coaching really selected me versus me selecting coaching. And when I say that, I mean that women would seek me out for guidance, for counsel, for feedback about career choices, or how do I maneuver in this environment? And so I really began as a result of requests from the women. And then I saw where I could be of value to them. And that's when I decided to open the program up to empowerment for women. I think that so many times as women, we are so focused on our goals, we forget about all we've achieved. And that's what I experienced with my clients. Many of them are phenomenal. They've achieved they have great accomplishments, much success, but they don't own it.
Why do you think that is, Carol? Like, it just feels like people are not willing to celebrate their wins and feel good about themselves. What drives that?
I think it's a combination of factors. One, in our world, we're always pushed to do more. The question is, what have you done lately, right? So how often do we really hear in the world talk about what you've achieved? It's like, don't rest on your laurels, so you're not really encouraged to even acknowledge your achievements.
Right.
And then there's some concerns around the difference between confidence and arrogance, right? People don't want to appear to be too self-centered. So they are not comfortable really talking about their wins. And then they're always striving to do more.
Right.
So where do you really receive that type of support to encourage you to claim your power and your voice?
Right.
And that's where the coaching and the empowerment program was really developed within me. I want to help women to acknowledge what they've achieved, to be able to straddle that line between confidence and arrogance, and still show up and have their voice.
Right.
But that starts with them first embracing themselves. And that's where I find the challenge is
Right.
that they need to be reminded. And let me just say that was my challenge too. And so that's what gives me the insight to be able to help others. I use
Right.
myself as a model.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm getting all kinds of feedback here. You're getting hellos. People love the topic. And you kind of made me think a little bit about your personal story, Carol, because you're talking about how you've had this inspiration since the beginning of your career and wanting to give people someone to look up to, someone to come to, and so forth. But you haven't been without struggle. You've been through a lot yourself and have achieved some great things. Can you share a little bit about your personal journey?
Yes, probably the one, well, many of them had big impact, but the one that had some of the greatest impact was my mother, who was disabled. And while I was full-time in my career role, I'm single, never married. I had 2 brothers and a wonderful family, but I took on the responsibility of being a care provider for her full-time. And that was before you see what's going on in today's world, where you have many people helping with their family members or a loved one. And what that meant was I really put my own life on hold. I used a lot of my 401k retirement money to help subsidize the care that my mother needed. I just really was all out devoted to her. And as a result of that, it really had an adverse impact on where I ended up when it was time for retirement. Mind you, I have a loving, kind family. So my brother supported me as well as my nephew and my niece. But in the end, a large percentage of that fell on me. So I had a financial hardship at the end of that process, which really lasted for 17 years. And people say 17 years. Let me just say this. When it started, I never thought it would be 17 years. It was, what I did was focus on the acute problem. My mother's not feeling well. Let me take her to the doctor. My mother is not doing well staying at the house alone. Let me move her into an assisted living facility. It was just one crisis after another. And so it was not something I started out to do, but it was a choice. And I want to say this right now about choice. We are always making choices. I did not have to do it. I chose to do it. And I teach that when I talk to people also. When we are making choices, be clear, because when you claim the choice, then you don't see yourself as a victim. When you claim the choice, then you can celebrate yourself for what you've achieved. And so that's what I learned through that process. My family supported me, but I did carry the large percentage of that role. And I had to figure out how to overcome it. Yeah. And so towards the end of that time, I chose to take care of myself. Yes. And so one of the other challenges was that at one point I was 232 pounds. I chose to take control over my health and my life. I chose to take control over my finances. How did I do that? I found a person that could help me with my budget. And I began to pay attention to my spending and to my saving, and I began to manage my finances. For my weight, I did seek out a 12-step recovery program that helped change my life. Right. I've been able to sustain a 10-pound weight loss over over a 75-pound weight loss over 10 years.
Just 75 pounds versus 10 pounds. That's a pretty big difference. And you look incredible, by the way.
Thank you. So those are some of the things I've overcome, but I've put practices and tools in place to enable me to be able to achieve these results and to sustain them over time.
Right.
And that is what I teach. I teach the tools and the practices that I live by, and they
Absolutely.
work.
Well, you're such an inspiration. I think what I'm hearing, Carol, is first you have to make the decision to take care of yourself and prioritize yourself. Once
Yes.
that decision's made, you're probably not going to hit a grand slam immediately, right? You've got to seek out people to help support that decision. And then you're
Yes.
taking steps towards achieving the goal. And then, of course, steps towards maintaining and refreshing that goal. Does that sound like basically the pattern of recovery, whatever
Perfect.
your situation is? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's incredible advice. And I just think, honestly, I mean, there's a lot of people who are out there claiming to do life coaching and transformation and so forth. I just believe that it's so inspiring to get that support and help from someone like you who's really been through a lot.
Yes.
Because a lot of people will say, sure, that's easy for you, somebody who's had a rose-colored glasses kind of life, but you've had to get through some trials and tribulations. And I think that makes you really, really inspiring. So I'm curious, what would you say to my audience members out there who are sitting there thinking, well, yeah, Carol did it, but how would I do it? What's 3 things people could do immediately out of the gates to improve their position and think about how to be achieving their goals?
I think about that, and I guess the first thing I would say is spend time with yourself. Think about, when do you actually sit quietly and think? And that would be my first suggestion, is to just get in a room where it's quiet. Take 30 minutes where you ask yourself, what do I want? Why do I want it? How am I going to achieve it? And then for me, as I mentioned when I addressed my finances, I sought out a coach. I found an expert in that area where I needed the guidance and the support. So that's another piece of it, is finding someone who has achieved what you're seeking and ask them how they achieved it. And then have a commitment to yourself. Make a decision that you are going to do the work that's necessary to achieve the goal that you want.
That's incredible. So inspiring. So, Carol, so tell me a little bit more. You obviously help people and support them on this journey. And so one of the things that attracted to me to having you on the show, by the way, we're getting all kinds of loves and likes. Keep giving the loves and likes to Carol. She's amazing. Somebody said, claim that choice. Love that. Right. Yes. So I think the advice that you're giving is really getting people's attention. I'm hearing excellent advice, all kinds of loves and likes out there. So, Carol, you're a popular speaker. So tell us a little bit about the thing that enchanted me to you is the program that you offer. So it's in a 3-month empowerment series that you offer to new clients. Tell us a little bit about that and how it works.
So the coaching program is for 3 months, as you stated. It's a one-on-one coaching program. I meet with my clients. We do a Zoom call. It's virtual. If we are in a physical area where we can do it in my office, that's also an option. And I have a couple of clients right now that I live in Nevada. They live in California. And when I visited California, I actually met with them and we had lunch. But back to the actual course itself, it is virtual, 1 hour per week where we meet. I send out a questionnaire before we get started. I ask questions about what's important to the person. What do they want to achieve most in the coaching program? And what are some of their achievements? So I get a chance to get to know them. And there are some standard tools that I utilize and some standard practices that I utilize for everyone, but I also customize the actual sessions to the person. And I learned how to do that from looking at the information they provide me in their questionnaire as to what's important to them.
So it sounds like they kind of direct their program by what they share. What's interesting about you saying that in terms of the pre-assessment that you do, kind of gathering information, it sounds like you're forcing the issue of spending some time with yourself and figuring out who you are, what you want to do, what are your strengths, that type of thing. Would you say that that's really pushing people to take that time and figure that out?
You're hitting the nail on the head. It's an emotional process for my clients to complete that questionnaire. I
Right.
receive feedback from them. Some have had to delay it a little bit. Some have just really become emotional, all ranges of emotion, joy, fear, sadness, but that's part of what we must engage to get on the other side of
Right.
where we are. But yes, it's a very emotional process for some, more for some people than others, but it is thought provoking. And yes, and I say in there also, you only need to answer what you're comfortable answering. There's no pressure. So
Right.
if someone says, this is the best I can do, that's enough.
Right. Exactly. And that's just part of the
There's
work.
no
that
right
people want.
answer. There's not a complete answer. It's whatever you're able to give at that point in time is enough for me to work with to help you claim your voice.
Absolutely. It's so funny when you're thinking about that. I was thinking about what you said earlier about just how society doesn't give us a chance to breathe. You ace the test, you do a good broadcast, you're successful in business, and there's no time to celebrate any success or even take time to really acknowledge your wins and this type of behavior that is just ingrained from us from childhood. So I feel like maybe what's driving this emotional part of the process is you're the first person who's asked people to do this for themselves, to talk about their successes. Do you feel like that has an impact on their ability to even complete this task?
I do believe that. And what I really focus on is the fact that I share with people, I have created a safe space. And when I say a safe space, I mean emotionally safe. So I am going to listen. I'm going to wait and hear you. And then I am going to not criticize you. I am going to uplift you. I'm going to point out to you what you have achieved. I'm going to point out to you your greatness. And that is creating a safe space emotionally so that we can really get to what the issues are. We're always being told about where we need to develop. I want a space where we celebrate you and we see how we can build on your strengths. That is not offered very often.
Right. Sign me up, Carol.
But people do best with reinforcement of what they've done well. That's what motivates you. That's what gets you excited. That's what gets you happy. Do more and more and more of what was great.
Exactly. Who wants to be in the doldrums of what didn't work?
Right.
Exactly. So
Right.
I just want to remind everybody, keep giving the love to Carol. I see that here. And if you have a question, people are saying hello. Hello, Ms. Carol. Excellent advice. We're getting lots of hellos. Happy to see you. So people are pretty excited to see you here. But if you have a question or another comment, just remind you I can see them here. And we'll definitely raise them up live if you have any questions. I'm just really excited to have Carol on. Just listening to you, Carol, gets me all motivated and excited. We're not even talking about me yet, So I feel like, gosh, having you as a person in our lives is big and impactful. So I'm so excited to bring you to the masses today and share this. So now I just wanted to get to know you a little bit more personally for my audience. So obviously you're busy. You had to move to Nevada. You're taking care of yourself. You're dynamic. I mean, you've got modeling gigs and you're out there transforming lives with motivational speaking and talks like this and with all of your client empowerment coaching, right? But you must find some spare time for fun. And so I'm just curious, what does Carol Reid do when she's not working and inspiring others?
Well, recently I took boxing lessons.
Wow. Good. It also hit your weight loss and exercise goals. So perfect.
I loved it. It was a great release of anxiety. I liked the way it felt and the way it looked. It was pretty exciting.
Is that
I like,
at a specific boxing studio or a gym? Where do they offer boxing?
they have boxing studios.
Wow.
I had a trainer, and he really helped me to get focused. And it was a great achievement to be able to do something like that. I have photos, so if anybody ever wants to see them, I make them on my
definitely
website.
want a photo of that, Carol. That sounds really good. And what I like about it too is probably, did you ever picture yourself being a boxer and doing something like that?
No.
So it just means you can do anything. You can do great things. And that's also really inspiring. So how fun is that? I love it.
It was wonderful. So the whole concept is, it's never too late, right? It's
Right.
never too late to pursue your dreams. It's never too late. And I am 68 years old. I say that because I'm proud of it. I plan on continuing to do great things. Just like you said about the modeling, I went last Friday for an interview. I have an opportunity for another interview this afternoon for motivational speaking. I'm busy and I'm loving life. I live that which I teach. So I'm uniquely qualified to help others.
You really are, and it's inspiring, right? Because I even think about when you talk about 17 years in sort of bad financial straits. I mean, most people would think that's a life sentence. I'm done. I can't recover from this. But you did. You took the steps you needed to do. You got advice of somebody who could get you on track with a budget. You've moved to Nevada. Just all around, super inspiring. You're getting the queen crown here, and people are saying that you've informally coached them for years and supporting them on your journey. You look fabulous. You are fabulous. I mean, come on, Carol, you're getting tons of response out there, lots of loves and likes. So think back. I'm going to ask you to reflect for a minute, right? Because you acknowledge you are 68 years old, setting an inspiration. I'm sure all my 40 and 50-year-olds are thinking, why don't I look as good as Carol Reid? But you're looking great. And so I just say, take a step back and reflect back when you're Carol in her 30s. Think a little bit about that for a minute. And if you were to give one piece of advice for feedback for somebody who's just coming up in their career, newer to all the challenges and things they maybe haven't experienced, having to take care of a family member or any of those kinds of things yet because they're kind of coming up on life. If you were to look back, what kind of advice would you give them?
The main message that I would give is you are enough, just like you are. What does that mean? You're smart enough. You're intelligent enough. You're pretty enough. You are enough. Yes, we continue on that road of progress, getting better, but where you are today is acceptable. It has to become acceptable to you. That's where the problem is. My problem was in my head. I didn't believe I was good enough, smart enough, pretty enough. And I learned that that was never true. It was just a thought in my head, but I allowed it to dictate my behavior. I declined offers to maybe go to special events. I wasn't good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough. I held myself back. So I would tell myself, you are enough the way you are. If you want to make progress, then pursue the progress. But learn to embrace your greatness today. You are enough.
You are so inspirational. Somebody just wrote, Carol, so inspiring, goosebumps. And literally, I can feel the chills when you talk. It gets me so excited and just makes me feel more confident. Every conversation I have with you, I feel like I gain something new. So I'm getting the free counseling. I like that. Somebody says you're on fire. Love that. So I'm sure many of my viewers out there are seeing and recognizing how inspirational you are. And I'm sure plenty of them would love to get more information on a coaching session. And so, or to get involved in your 3-month program. So can you give us everybody a feel for how they would get in touch with you and what's the first step in working with you?
The first step would be just to go to my website, and the name is right there on the bottom of the screen. Type in carolreidspeaks.com, and there is a button there that you can select and schedule a Zoom call with me. My calendar is available, it's up to date, and I would love to hear from you.
Sounds wonderful. Well, I encourage all of my audience to reach out for Carol. The first step is just getting in touch, and you'll see if you're a good fit for one another. I can just tell you, in my time knowing Carol, she is a major inspiration in my life. Makes me want to do more, know that I have plenty of time to do more if I choose that. It's all about my journey and focusing on what I'm good at. People here are saying it well. Summer is saying, Carol, you're truly an inspiration, and I love your growth mindset and unwavering faith in what's possible. Thanks for being you. And by the way, she says, yes, I am enough. Yes, yes, yes. So, Carol, that's what you bring out in others. You are incredible. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. For everybody out there, if you missed the whole broadcast, we'll be on our YouTube channel at Black Point Insurance. It'll be available. We're also going to be sharing clips on LinkedIn and Facebook for those of you who weren't able to see the whole show today. Carol, thanks so much for being who you are. Please contact Carol at carolreidspeaks.com. You can schedule a Zoom call and let Carol begin helping you on the journey to change your life for the better. Thanks, Carol.
Thank you. Everybody take care. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.